The 80s were significantly better than the 70s, but still nothing spectacular. Not a single film is 10 out of 10. There were some nice movies though. Generally speaking, the 80s were a decade of special effects, so films strived to jam-pack as many of them as possible. If nothing exploded in a movie, it was considered a lazy job. Without further ado, let's get to the rating. Number 10. This movie was a blatant cash grab from nobody of a director. The novel is called 1984, so let's release a movie called 1984 in a year 1984. Very cool. However, it is still a nice alternative for those who don't want to read the novel, and I think everyone should know the whole story, not just the title, because it gets misused a ton. 7 out of 10. I had serious trouble picking the ninth place. Sure, Tremors is a unique movie mixing horror and comedy, but meanwhile it is rather empty. Plus, it was released in 1990 and there is no way it can compete with other movies in the 90s, so I'm putting it here. Part 3 is severely underrated for a simple reason that it is a part 3. Society has this stupid preconceived notion that any sequel is worse than any original. While there is some truth to that, it is not as simple. It is a well-known fact that T2 is better than the original. Likewise, Back to the Future 3 is definitely better than both Part 1 and Part 2. 7 out of 10. The following 4 movies are all 8 out of 10. Number 8. Okay, usually I give high rating to movies with a great story or with great characters. Akira has neither of those, but god damn it, the quality of animation puts most of modern anime to shame. Every frame is a painting. If you're a fan of animation, definitely watch this. Number 7. I don't usually like dramas. I prefer movies that make me think rather than make me feel. Amadeus is an attempt at Mozart's biography of sorts, but actually it is a drama. A very dark, anguished drama. Number 6. Sometimes stars align and a completely passable movie becomes a classic. Many people attribute the success of this movie to Bruce Willis, but as the sequel clearly shows, it is not the case. The director didn't film anything else of value either. My bet is that you can't have a great good vs evil movie without a great villain. And you know who the villain is in this movie? Alan fucking Rickman. Let's go! Do I need to say more? This is a must watch for any action lover, and I'd argue that you can't call yourself a cinephile if you haven't watched this movie. It's iconic. Die Hard, 1988. Number 5. I am not a fan of biopics because usually they have no message behind them. You have to live a damn purposeful life for your biography to have some sort of a takeaway. And Gandhi should did exactly that. I always knew that Ben Kingsley is an underrated actor, but he's shining in this movie. He's portraying Gandhi from when he just graduated till his very last breath, and it's mesmerizing to watch. Sadly, I can't recommend this movie to everyone. This is a specific movie for specific people. The top 4 movies are all 9 out of 10. Number 4. I don't know why I like this anime so much. It speaks to me on a spiritual level. It has some meaning, but I'm not even going to pretend that I understand it. Just watch it and make your own conclusions. My Neighbor Totoro, 1988. Before we get to top 3 honorable mentions. Kiki's Delivery Service, 3 out of 10. And that's all. Going back to top 3. Number 3. Not gonna lie, I was very surprised when this movie turned out to be a 9 out of 10. Because in my mind, Rambo was that guy that runs around Vietnamese jungles covered in dirt. Turned out I had only seen the second worst movie of this trilogy. First Blood takes place entirely in the US state of Washington. And actually it was filmed even further north in British Columbia in Canada. So there are no jungles, no gooks, and no charismatic Soviet lieutenant colonels. Only a lone veteran against the police forces of a small town of Hope. This is a film about PTSD and the relative war after the war itself is over. It is a must-watch for any military fan, especially the American ones. Number 2. There are only 2 coming-of-age movies that I gave high rating, and the second one is from 2012. The Breakfast Club is a case study of teen psychology. It dives into the most common roles teenagers have in school. As is true in adult society, there is usually more to a person's behavior than might initially meet the eye. There is a cause to everything. Every behavior is a reaction to external stimuli. You may not know what the stimuli are, but you can rest assured that there is some damn cause, and if someone is being rude to you, most likely that is not just because they don't like you. If you had trouble fitting in school or generally have problems being a part of a group, this is a must-watch. Number 1. Speaking of school, due to certain socio-economic reasons, there are very few teachers who actually care about students. Even fewer are teachers who actually understand that the system students are trapped in is broken, archaic, and has nothing to do with real life. And among these teachers, fewer still those who choose to pass this knowledge to students and help them cope with the gritty reality they are part of. This movie is about teachers like this. Again, if you are still hung up about school or university, please watch this movie. Dead Poets Society, 1989. That's it. You know how hard it is to read this shit? You have no idea how many takes I did. I've been recording for 2 hours. And it's only 3 pages of script. But I'm not complaining. The knowledge I give is essential, and it's essential that I give it. So if you want to discuss movies with me, you can do it in the comments or DM me on Discord. I added it to our server. Yeah, determinism is freedom.